Happy Devils Wednesday. This is the State of the Fan Address presented by pucksandpitchforks.com. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with the editor-in-chief, Nick Villano, as we're streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, X Live, Twitch, and now on Instagram Live on the Let's Go Devils Network as the quarterfinals of the men's ice hockey in the Olympics have concluded. We'll talk a little bit about that later. Also, USA versus Canada women's ice hockey tomorrow, 1:10 p.m. Eastern. Lots to talk about, lots of hockey. How are you, Nick?
I'm doing great. Yeah, what a day, man. What a day. What a day. It was, listen, I don't even know where to start. I guess we should start with USA, right? Because that's probably the place where everybody's so excited. You know, I got my my Made in Jersey shirt on today, just because we're all wearing the red, white, and blue. We're all, representing. But I couldn't be more happy to see how well Jack Hughes is playing in these Olympics, Sam. He took a ton of criticism going in, and listen, I get it from like an on paper standpoint. I don't care. I don't care that maybe he missed that Islanders game. He wasn't ready for the blue. I think it was the Blue Jackets game before that. He wasn't ready for that one, at least not 100%. And I don't know, man. This season seems cooked. So I'm fully aware that he might have sat out the Islanders game to be ready for the Olympics, but it also could have been he just had an extra week to recover, and now this is what he looks like. But I think you're going to get this guy when he comes back. It's not like he's going to pull like a Matthew Tkachuk who was hurt, came back for the Four Nations, and then was hurt again. Then he was out again. I think that Jack Hughes is going to put it all on the table when he gets back for the Devils. I think there's a lot of good momentum here. There was part of it that upset me about these games. I thought you could have gotten real good momentum out of Jesper Bratt coming out of this, but I don't think you're going to get that now because he basically had just a nightmare Olympic Games. I don't even think it was his fault. I think he was playing well. He didn't play. He had a bad game in Finland, but I think all of Sweden was just a disaster in that game. But I think you've gotten good performances out of Jack Hughes. You've gotten good performances out of Simone Nemec, who's in the semifinals. The Devils are down to 2. There's 2 players left in the Olympics for the Devils. It's Simone Nemec and Jack Hughes. Just like we all wrote it up, right? That was how we were predicting it was going to be down to Simone Nemec and Jack Hughes.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, eliminating...
So we're guaranteed to get one in the gold medal game. One of those players will be in the gold medal game. We will have a reason to watch both the gold medal game and the bronze medal game because there will be a devil in each one.
Well, if U.S. loses to Slovakia, I'm not watching the gold medal game. Can't watch it.
You're not going to root for Simone?
I don't know. I root for countries right now.
I don't root for Simone.
He's the enemy right now.
Nah. Listen, I was really impressed with the role that Simone Nemec played today against Germany. That was a game. I mean, did you think that Slovakia was that much better than Germany? It was 6-2.
I honestly think the United States wore out Germany on Sunday.
Maybe it's possible because here's the thing: is that there were real people with real TV shows and real podcasts that predicted Germany was going to win that group and beat the United States. There were real people out there.
Are they called Canadians?
They were, I think they were on like TSN or something.
Yeah, it's because of Draisaitl.
Sure.
And Stützle.
Yeah, maybe. Again, but that's the thing is that Germany has Stützle, Draisaitl, and Moritz Seider. But like, kind of it. They have really high level talent, and then they have nothing. And then the real problem is in net, right? Your goalie isn't one of those high-level talents, which was the difference for Finland, right? Finland, it looks like it was all going wrong. You say Saros made a mistake, and Switzerland took advantage of it today. But Saros shut the door down for 2 periods. Well, 3, if you include through the third period and then overtime, and allowed Finland to get back in it. It allowed Finland's stars to get back in it. Aho scored the first goal. Heiskanen scored the second goal, assisted by Hintz and Rantanen. And then Lehkonen, I think, scored the overtime goal. But again, like the Switzerland stars, Hischier, I just didn't like his Olympics, to be honest. I just didn't like the way it looked. He was fine against some of the lesser teams, but I needed more out of him. You wanted him to match Timo Meyer's energy, right? Timo Meyer looked incredible this entire Olympics. I think Timo Meyer is going to come out of this with some momentum. Hischier's it's an interesting spot for Hischier. I don't know. I think he's so far in his head that you got to figure something out with him, because you have a big decision to make with Hischier this offseason with his contract coming up. Are you going to pay a guy like that $11 million a year? You know what I mean? So because that's if Alex Tuch is asking for more than 10, Nico Hischier's going to get 11.
It all depends. I think I don't think you can. Let me say this. I don't think you can keep Nico Hischier on the Devils if your intent is to get Quinn Hughes.
I highly disagree.
Okay. So
your advantage is the Devils. The only reason why the Devils are constantly spoken about as a playoff contender is because you have an advantage that only 6 teams in the league have, where you have 2 elite centers. The only advantage you have. Replacing that with a 1D, which 20 teams have. And listen, Quinn Hughes is the second best, but it's not this is not a haves and have-nots situation. You have something that only Edmonton, Colorado. I mean, you could say Pittsburgh, but
I don't disagree with you, but you got to let me finish. There's a reason why. Because I don't think if you're going to bring Quinn in, it's more than just money. Do you really want? I don't know. I'm not saying to give the captaincy to him, but is this Jack's team or is this Nico's team?
I don't think it matters. Was it Stevens' team or was it Niedermayer's team? Or was it Brodor's team?
Different dynamics.
But it didn't matter.
I don't know.
You have to make it, and Sam, I'm going to tell you, if it matters, you need to bring in a coach who makes it not matter. Because that's just it's not good. You don't need a split team. This team has been together on so many different
So
things.
you're willing to pay Nico Hischier $11 million a year?
Yeah. If he signs for 8. Only if he signs for 8. I'm not doing like a 5 by 11 or anything like that.
What, an 8-year, $11 million a year?
Yeah.
Whew. I don't think I can give that. I don't think I could do that as a GM.
I think he's worth. I don't think he's worth 11, but I think he will be worth 11 in 3 years, kind of thing. Just with the cap rising, with salaries changing. It's almost like is Trevor Lawrence worth $50 million in the NFL? No, But you pay him $50 million because the downgrade that you get is significant, and it makes you a non-contender. This team with just Jack Hughes, especially with his injury history, and Nico, like, you got to take into effect that, like, even though he's probably playing injured right now, he's playing all the games, and that's important for a guy who, you know, with the team that's desperately needs these centers. Yeah, I mean, listen, like, who do you think is better, Alex Tucker or Nico Hischier?
I would say Nico, but
right.
But people in the YouTube live, Steve Tartas, and just a reminder, Brodeur took less, and in some respects, Scott Stevens took less to be here.
I don't think Brodeur took less.
Oh, yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Last contract,
yes, he did.
There was the one contract he was making like $7.5 million in the 90s.
What? No, he never made $7.5 million a year in the 90s. No,
it might have only been for 1 year. So let me look at this.
I think he made 7.5 maybe in the late 2000s, but I think he was stuck. I think, if I remember correctly, I think he was around the 6.2 range, along with Stevens and I think McGillney.
Oh, yeah.
Elias was in 2007, 2008. We're talking about, I think Brodeur was at 5.2 in the early 2000s.
I think he signed a friendly deal eventually, but I'm trying to look it up on him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really reaching because with my memory bank, but for sure, Brodeur left on the table before this is pre cap era. Brodeur.
That's what. I could have sworn there was a.
He definitely did not make 7.5 in his first 10 years.
All right, so from 2001 to 2005, he made $8 million a year.
8? No. Nope.
I'm just telling you what it says.
Where's your source?
5-year, $40 million. It's Spot Track. And then from 95 to 97, he made 5.3. Here, let me see if I can find
Nope. That's wrong.
Yeah, ESPN.com. Martin Brodeur, the goalie, led the Devils to 2 Stanley Cups, signed a 5-year, $40 million contract extension. Brodeur will earn $8 million annually in each of the next 4 seasons, starting in 2002-03. The Devils will have an option for a 5th year, which will be the 2006-07 season.
Was that dated?
Just says October 3rd, so it doesn't. I'm assuming it's in 2000, 2001.
If my memory serves me correct,
I just double sourced you, Sam. I double sourced you.
Yeah, but you know what? It's kind of like
it is ESPN and Spot Track versus your brain.
Everyone is saying different in the YouTube live. They're calling you out, and they're more of my numbers.
Calling me out?
Yeah.
I need a source. I literally have an article that was signed from when he signed, and I have the contract.
Let me tell you something, okay? All right. I learned something. I learned something. I learned something today. This is off topic, but it's. There was a I don't know, I was listening to something about economics, right? And they said 16 Nobel Prize in economics, 16 of them said the same thing. And what they said is that, do they really agree? Or a lot of them would just say, if one person says this, then they just all agree, even though they don't really agree. You know, so sometimes you have one source that says something and then another source that says another. There's no way Martin Brodeur ever made $8 million a year during that time period. No way.
Can you find me anything that says different?
Well, I'm not going to do it in the.
I found it.
No, it was an 8-year, $40 million contract, 5.2.
That's incorrect.
Where's your source, Roman?
That's just not right.
I don't think that's right either, because I don't think he ever signed 8 years. But
no, he did not sign 8 years. I don't even think you could. Could you sign 8 years back then?
You know what? Do I have to go through the court documents? Because it's in his court documents. I remember that.
Oh, from his divorce.
Yeah.
And Sam, it could very well be like chicanery, right? Like agent speak, and you know they puffer fish these contracts so they look bigger than they are. I'm not telling you that that's not wrong. I'm just telling you the reported numbers from two sources say from 2001 until the lockout, Brodeur made $8 million a year.
So he made more than Scott Stevens.
I believe so. Because what was Scott Stevens making? Like 6.6 or something?
6.2.
6.2? Yeah. So, and he deserved it then. Stevens was at the tail end back then. You know what I mean? He was still very effective, but
all right. So let's get back to this Nico Hischier thing. So you would pay him $11 million AAV for the next 8 years.
I would.
That's commitment.
Because you're paying him what is he's 27 right now? Is he 27?
Yeah, around that age.
So you're paying him from 28 to 35. 28 to 35, 28 to 36. So that's his prime, and then a couple. You're paying a little bit of a premium on the back end. I think Nico Hischier is the guy from 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, or whatever you want to say. I think he's an 80-point guy. He's a point per game player guy who's an elite defensive center. I think something's off with the Sheldon Keefe style and this team. And I think that Nico Hischier is going to get set off like a rocket with his next coach if you hire the right coach. And again, I think Sheldon Keefe is a good coach who is in a situation that's not ideal for what he needs. I just think I think he knew he needed a year off, and the Devils came in with a grandfather offer. And he took it. That's what I think. That's what I'm sticking to. That being said, I would give Hischier $11 million. I mean, let me ask you this, Sam. Would you give Quinn 20 if it guaranteed him here? Where's your limit? Are you because Kirill Kaprizov reset the market. Guys were trying to bring it back down to earth, but the best of the best, would you give Connor McDavid $20 million? You know what I mean? Where's your number? Where's your limit?
My limit's at 15.
Is it just because of the salary cap? Are you upset that the Mets gave Soto all that money? I'm just curious. I'm curious of where what dynamic you're approaching.
I'm trying to be. It's more of cap. Strictly cap.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind. That. I wouldn't mind spending, $20 million. I mean, this is a hard cap you're talking about. So.
Here's what I do if I'm the Devils. You got to do something bold right now. You just don't have the gravitas. You screwed this whole thing up. You have to make a desperation play. I'll go to Quinn and say, I'll give you a 3-year extension. I'll match you. I'll line you up with Jack. Allow you to play with Jack for 3 years. Firstly, again, I don't think Minnesota's going to be able to sign him. We just don't. I think they're going to lose in the first round. I think Dallas really needed this break, And Dallas is going to go on. I think they're going to go on a monster tear, and they're going to knock Minnesota out in the first round. That's what I think. If it doesn't happen, that changes things a little bit. But let's say Minnesota's out in the first round. Quinn is golfing 6 games into the playoffs, sitting with his brother. After all this hype, and after the Devils make massive sweeping changes, new front office, I think I really think they're going to sign Shanahan, who's a name in this league that is important. I think Shanahan's going to hire a younger GM. Think Sonny Meta. Think, I've brought up the name John Chayka. That's gone pretty cold for me lately, so I'm less on that one just because, I just don't think, I think there's other guys they're looking at. But I think they're going to also bring in a coach that makes sense. If I'm the Devils, did you really send me Hockey Zone Plus?
When I saw those numbers, those are the numbers I remember.
I'll look at your source, but this is not a good source.
Have you ever been to that website before?
I've been. Let's see.
Those are the numbers I remember. So you were probably correct in that time period because that was pre-cap. And that's where the adjustment came. Was after that lockout season, everything got adjusted. So that kind of screwed me up. Remember, they started to take some escrow after that year-long lockout. That's so you were right, but it was never $8 million a year. Definitely not.
Well, with bonuses and everything, this just shows the salary. This literally says on here, signed a 5-year contract for $40 million, right on the source.
Yeah, but look,
88,
but
an average of 8 out here.
But you don't see $8 million in there.
Right, I see the 6.891, which is the number I remember. I remember the 6.891, which he made in 2002 and 2003.
Yep.
And I agree. I think that, I assume Lou had a conversation with Rodor because I think the lockout knocked out that last year of the contract, and then they got to the option year. I believe that's how it worked. And then Lou signed him to that contract that was $5.2 million for.
Yeah, he took less. He took less in his prime.
Again. Well, how old was he then? Was he over 30 in 2000? I think so, right?
He was 40 in 2012. So, it's the third. Yeah.
So, yeah, he was over. But again, he was still in his prime. You just didn't know it, right? You didn't know that Brodor's prime was going to last. He was 37, 38.
Oh, I knew it.
Took a chance. You just never know, though. Injuries, and he was so incredibly durable, and that was his biggest. Anyway, we've gotten way off track. Let's bring it back here. Bring it back. I don't love what I saw from Nico Hischier in this tournament. I don't love. He was the guy, and he didn't perform that way. Right? He wasn't the guy in this tournament. He didn't perform like he was supposed to. And that, I will admit, coming into the season, Sam, I was a slam dunk. Yes, you absolutely give $11 million to Nico Hischier. Now I'm thinking about it really hard. Because I haven't loved his season. I really, really didn't love his tournament. I thought after that Italy game he would come to play in this game, and he didn't. And you got Timo Meier, who's your teammate in real life and teammate here. They've always had this great chemistry, and Timo Meier is coming in here. Timo Meier is playing like a Kachuk brother, right? He's playing with physicality, and he's scoring, which is what you see when Timo Meier's at his best. And he's just not matching that energy, man. And I really, Sikadar has been the worst player, even worse than Bratt, because when Bratt plays, he's good. I think Sikadar has been the worst player at the Olympics for the Devils. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? I just think he's been bad.
Yeah, I mean,
I think for both goals against in regulation for Switzerland today. One got shot right in front of his face, so he kind of screened his goalie. The other one, I wouldn't say it was his fault, but he was on the ice for both of them. Not a good tournament for him. Yeah, I don't know. That I don't love what I've seen from Heischer. Love what I've seen from Hughes, though. Love what I've seen from Hughes. Even in Hughes was not set up to succeed here, Sam. He was set up to fail, and he's overcome that, and has forced his way up the lineup, forced his way to play with better players. I think he's lifted up Brock Nelson. They've lifted each other up. They've done a good job of lifting. They have a skill set that really matches each other strangely well. And they've both lifted each other's games for the other. I've loved what I've seen from Hughes. And I love what I've seen from Nemitz. I think Nemitz, here's the thing about this tournament, Sam. This was an interesting opportunity. Because there's all these rumors that the Devils want to make a trade that shakes up the core. If I'm looking at it right now, Sam, I'm saying, man, this might be the most I could get for Timo Meier for a long time. I think trading Timo Meier is a mistake because then you have to replace the exact player that Timo Meier is on paper. I think it's easier to unlock Timo Meier than it is to reacquire a guy like that. But it might be a fire sale. And a fire sale, you have to, sometimes you get garage sale prices and sometimes you get eBay prices, right? And if you're offering me an eBay price for a Timo Meier and you're offering me, say, an NHL-ready prospect that's high leverage, a first-round pick, and, a bottom six roster guy, it's really hard to say no to that. With that contract and also the salary cap space that you're gaining, I don't think you can trade Jesper Bratt at this point. I think the way he was treated on an international stage, I think really hurt his value. I wrote about that on pucksandpitchforks.com. I think that really impacted his trade value. I don't think you can move him now.
It's very interesting with Sweden, okay? Because the same thing happened with Holtz, where he didn't make the team, if you remember. And also
the world, right?
Yeah, yep. And interestingly enough, in the past probably about 20 years, I think the New Jersey Devils have been really had a hard time with Swedish players for the most part. If you go back to Tenenby, Josephson, those days, Berg Fours,
Berg was here for a half a minute, though, and they got traded.
But still, I mean, they got picked over other guys because, for whatever reason, David Conti had this Swedish thing going, and
they really trusted the Swedish scout back then. Conti really I forget his name, but he really trusted that. That's a known thing. They really trusted the Swedish scout.
Now, Adam Larson, he brought the Devils Taylor Hall, so it's not so bad.
Did he make the team? Is he at the Olympics?
I didn't see his name.
I don't think he made the Olympics. That's crazy.
Yeah. So I think the best Swedish player that the Devils have had is probably Jesper Bratt out of the 6th round.
Yeah.
If you really think about it. I mean, Markstrom, he's only been here, year and a half?
He hasn't played for most of it.
Oh, he sucked this year.
I did like Markstrom's game. Markstrom looked really good today. If Markstrom could be that guy, I'm going to make a bold prediction. If that's the Markstrom we get, we're making the playoffs. As impossible as it looks right now, if we get that Markstrom and we get this Hughes, and Hughes stays healthy, we're making the playoffs.
And add Meyer in as well.
Yeah, I just assume March Meyer is going to be a thing. I wrote about that a couple weeks ago. He is setting it up to be March Meyer again. You could tell the rumblings. It starts to percolate for Meyer, and the fact that we have so many games in March this year, I think March Meyer is going to be a thing. So I agree, though. I think that was just kind of baked into my plan. I think Cody Glass is going to look really good. He's going to be fully healthy. Luke Hughes, we didn't talk about that. He returned to the ice today.
Oh, you look good.
Luke Hughes was looking. He
looked
was
good.
Good for the injury. And he's a guy that like it's really important in the roster. I don't think they're trading Dougie Hamilton.
Well,
I don't think anybody's going to pay up for him.
To tell you the truth, Nick, the Olympic reset is probably what this franchise needed because of they were going through this downward spiral, a lot of negativity. It's nice to see Jack smile again, and Jack being Jack Hughes that we loved when he did the stick toss, and he's like, yeah, baby, or let's go, baby, that Jack Hughes. That's the Jack Hughes I want to see, and it just seems like the Olympics have brought that out in him. I know Ryan Novozinski, did a YouTube live earlier, thinking, I was just reading headlines about, the Olympics. Look at all them play well, and why all of a sudden they're playing like they are, but when it comes to the New Jersey Devils, they're not, let's just say, optimized to their potential. And, again, a lot of people are pointing at Sheldon Keefe. I kind of disagree. I have my opinion on it, but my opinions are usually out of left, outside the box.
I think Sheldon Keefe's a good coach in a situation where he really needed a year off. And it's because of the way these last 2 years have gone, where they had the hot starts both years and then just petered off, and he couldn't turn the ship around. That's my issue. It's my only issue with Keefe. I don't even mind the system. Because
it's amazing because Lindy and Hines, for the most part, had the same exact problem.
Yeah, Hines is a completely different team. Hines, can I tell you what I think happened with Hines? I think Subban and Hall didn't get along. And I think everybody liked Subban. Because Subban went to the parties and Hall didn't. Subban had fun with the young guys. I don't think he took guys under his wing. I don't think that was who he was. I don't think he was a mentor. I think he drank with the guys. He chopped it up with the younger guys. He brought nicknames, and I think Hall just saw him on the ice not playing like a 1D, and there was animosity there. And I think Hines, similar to what happened last year in Vancouver, just much less out in the open. But I just think that the locker room went to hell, and Jack Hughes was a rookie, and he wasn't playing well. He was terrible. Nico Hischier took a step back. Jesper Bratt, I think that was one of the years that he wasn't that good. Like, he had, less than 40 points. Pavel Zacha wasn't very good. It was just, all these things that you thought were going to happen just didn't happen. And I think it was, just a miserable place to work. And I think that's what happened this year, just not within the players. I think the players like playing for each other. Every interview I see, and like I said, Fansite did an interview with Jack Hughes, who was like, I want this team to win. And he's like, we're going to win. And, there was a lot of interesting questions asked of the Devils right before the Olympic break at that, what is it, rock the boat?
Sweep the deck.
Sweep the deck. Yeah, whatever. About, why should we believe in you? And Dale McCartan, friend of the podcast, asked a couple of those. And they're like, we don't know. But we should, because we believe in us. And I think they truly believe that, which is why. But the problem is that they get on the ice and a goal scored against them and they quit. Not quit. Quit's not the right word, but they lose faith. The faith is gone like that. Or they're up 3-0 and then a goal is scored and then they get tight.
Well, maybe it's a new season when they come back and they can get off to that hot start like they did when they went 8-1. Then it's going to make things very interesting down the stretch.
If you go 11-3, and you're within
that's 22 points right there.
You need New York, the Islanders, to kind of fall off.
That's what you're hoping for.
Right, I think they could.
With the reset, anything can happen. That's the thing. Like, I don't want to be an optimist here. All I'm want to tell our listeners and people watching, there's actually a realistic path, but a lot has to happen to even get to that point. You've got the Olympic reset. All these players are playing very well in the Olympics. They're coming in with confidence when they get back to the Devils. Okay? It's been, 2 months removed practically since Luke Hughes has been booed. And now his shoulder is feeling better and he's practicing right now. So, out with the negativity. You're on a clean slate. They have time to practice. They're well rested. Jake the Snake Allen's ready to go. Markstrom actually, had a slow start in the Olympics, but really got himself together. That's a good, ended on a high note.
Goal, yeah.
Yeah. So,
one goal at the end.
Slovakia. Yeah. Just for Brad, again, I kind of want to, as what Bill Spaulding was putting out, I kind of want an explanation why he was benched. Was he hurt? Did he do something? Or does it stay in the locker room? I don't know. But
I think it was a lineup decision because he played at the end of the game and he was in overtime.
Yeah. And, maybe he has a chip on his shoulder and he's going to be the Jesper Bratt that we know he could be. See, there's a lot of things that, again, a lot has to happen. You're going to have to figure a way how to win 20 games between now and the end of the season. They have a 7-game homestand.
Yeah.
In the middle of March, and that's Timo time, March. Again, I'm trying to
all the Rangers games in March.
Yeah.
And the Rangers are pitiful.
You should get 6 points out of it. You should.
You can't lose a Rangers game this year.
Yeah.
You can't.
So there's no room for error, but there is a path. There's a mathematical path for them to at least be in contention. Be relevant in the last week of April.
26 games?
25. 20-5. They got 5 mulligans.
Yeah, I think you can. I don't think it's that extreme, but I think you need 36 points.
Right now they're at 58.
Yeah, I think they need 36 points. I think you get in 94.
You really think they can get in? Well, I mean, the Islanders would have to fall off. They would have to fall off. And Pittsburgh,
I think that the fact that Sorokin's not at the Olympics helps. He's going to be cold.
And I think Crosby will be playing, right? I think he has a sprain, MCL sprain.
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah, and if the Penguins don't have Crosby, I think they're going to fall. Yeah, I think they're both going to fall off. Because I think the Penguins also have a decision to make, right? Are they going to add or are they going to subtract? And they've already subtracted. They traded Jari. Pittsburgh has been doing it, smoke and mirrors all year. That you can get to the playoffs with smoke and mirrors, but sometimes you fall off at the end.
What about the BJs?
I just don't think they're that good of a team, and they got everything they got was from this coach situation. I think there's a lot of teams. I think the Sabres are going to fall off. I think the Sabres are going to miss the playoffs. I think
a lot has to happen.
Well, they got teams like Toronto and who's the other Atlantic team that's right on their heels? I guess Toronto's kind of far back though now, aren't they? Who's the other? Ottawa. It's the other team that's like right on their heels, or not on their heels, but like within striking distance. Yeah. Here's the thing. There are avenues. It's looking bleak. But the way they've played in the Olympics, I do think they should have made a move, whether it was coach, it was GM, it was something. Trading Andre Palat does nothing, especially when you sold, like you traded assets to get rid of Palat. I still don't get that. That trade didn't make a lot of sense to me. When the ensuing move was Nick Bustad, I don't know. There's a lot of things that don't make a lot of sense, but we'll see. I think they're gonna make a move that shocks people. But I think it's going to be. I think. I don't know.
What, Quinn's coming home with Jack?
That'd be funny. And that's the other thing. Here's the thing. This is what I think we should end on. Does a gold medal make it more likely that Quinn Hughes comes and plays with his brother? Or less likely because Bill Guerin, who's the GM of Team USA, doesn't let Quinn go anywhere. Like, gives it anything you want. You want to own the team? Sure. Fuck. F it. Sorry. I caught myself.
You said puck.
Yeah. Pucks and pitchforks.
Yeah.
Put a pitchfork in it. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Good recovery, Nick.
Something like that. All right. I think I need to plug because I'm getting ornery.
Go right ahead. Plug away.
All right. Pucksandpitchforks.com. We have so much Olympic articles up already. I think there's 5 from today. 2 more are coming up right after this podcast. I started one on Simone Nemitz. Simone Nemitz is talking about how he has the most to gain of the player, of who's left. I think Simone Nemitz can gain a lot, even if they don't beat the U.S. I think he can still gain a lot from securing a bronze medal. I think that's important. They're treating him like their number 1 defenseman. They're playing him like he could shut people down. And I think that's important. And then I want to talk about Markstrom. Just I've been hard on this guy when he's deserved it, so I want to give him his flowers when he deserves it as well. So huge performance today against the U.S. Heartbreaking for Sweden, but I think that it's. I think he's going to come back with a little bit of a good, nice little chip on his shoulder too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then I have for Fansided.com the 5 biggest moments in USA Canada women's hockey history. That's coming out tomorrow morning.
Oh, great! Can't wait to read it. We'll have the morning woo tomorrow. Plus, it's not really a plug, but I am so going to make sure that at 1:10 p.m. Eastern, I lock the office door and I'll watch that USA versus Canada game. Who are you rooting for, Nick?
U.S.
USA all the way. That's what I say.
Yeah, no, I listen. It's,
Do you think?
I love this rivalry. It's one of the best. I truly think that USA Canada women's hockey is one of the best rivalries in sports. Right now, you know what I mean. I don't think it has the history that like a UNC, UConn, Ohio State, Michigan, those. But like right now, for my money, what do I want to watch right now? USA versus Canada women. It's the 2 so clear best countries in this sport, and we got them with a gold medal on the line. Give it to me. I need it.
I'll tell you, if Team USA wins both men's and women win gold this Olympics. I don't know, but I think you could probably finally say that hockey is America's game.
It's hard to deny, right?
I mean, the Stanley Cup hasn't been won by a Canadian team in the NHL in over 3 decades. You add that to the mix, and college hockey is overtaking juniors right now. Just saying.
Well, and USA won World Juniors
Yeah.
last year, right?
Yeah. So I'm crossing my fingers on this one. I'll probably piss off a lot of Canadians, but if this actually happens, by Sunday noon Eastern, you can honestly say that the 1980 team opened up the door, but these teams blew down that door, and absolutely just, and I hate to credit before we go, but if that happens, Gary Bettman deserves a lot of credit for moving hockey down south, where you have an Austin Matthews on Team USA. You have players that are from southern states. He's not on the Olympic team, but Blake Coleman, growing up in Texas. And Texas only had, 1 or 2 rings before the Stars relocated from Minnesota?
Yeah. Listen, there's a lot of, there's some Florida contingent. There's some, I know the Hughes brothers are technically from Florida, but, the Hughes family, were already playing hockey. But, Austin Matthews is a product of the growth of the NHL.
By the way, Sweden won the World Juniors this year. It was the year before U.S. Yeah. Thank you, Jason.
I said last year.
Yeah.
I was talking about last year, literally last year. I couldn't remember who won it this
year. But
year.
the U.S. is perennial contenders, just like Canada, every year. 30 years ago, growing up, you were lucky, it was no comparison between U.S. and Canada.
Where's Gavin McKenna playing right now? Where is McKenna playing?
It's at Penn State, an NCAA school.
Middle of Pennsylvania.
Yeah. He's not playing juniors,
Right. So there is a shift that happened, and it took a while. And you know what, Sam? If USA wins, I'm writing the article. I'm stealing your idea, and I'm going to write, Gary Bettman deserves credit for this gold medal.
Oh, he absolutely does. Because he took a lot of crap for it from the fans. Why are you going to non-traditional markets? Atlanta failed twice, and he may go back there again. And you know what I have to say to that? Third time's a charm. Because you know what?
I think that. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying because I didn't think the Panthers and Lightning would have lasted. I honestly did when they first did the expansion down there. It's sad what happened to the Arizona Coyotes, but you kind of get Austin Matthews out of it, right. And the Doan family,
They just didn't have a good owner, and I think that's there was still hope that it was going to work out, and they set it up to where they could keep the IP, right? Yep. The Coyotes still exist, specifically in Arizona,
Nashville, Vegas, doing just fine.
Nashville's working. Vegas. This is where Gary Bettman deserves the most credit because Vegas was persona non grata for a sports team. The gambling aspect, the fact that Vegas is only the 40th biggest media market because nobody lives there. Everybody's a tourist there, but 40 is still around where New Orleans is. New Orleans has 3 teams. Mm-hmm. So it's. He took a chance on Vegas, and now they're going to have 4 teams.
Yeah.
And it's because of the Golden Knights. The reason why Vegas is going to have a team in every major sport, which is still weird. It's not a big enough market to do that, but it is what it is. The reason they're going to have in every major sport is because Gary Bettman took a chance, and it worked out so well. And think about it, I think
the Seattle Kraken. I think Seattle Kraken was a recipient. There was a residual effect because of the Golden Knights.
Yep.
And also don't forget San Jose Sharks and Anaheim Ducks. I remember when the Anaheim the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim, based on a movie. You're owned by Disney. Back in the early
Disney owned the franchise.
Yeah, after
but
the
that
movie.
was a mistake by Disney. Sell it.
Yeah.
It's worth tenfold what they sold it for.
Yeah. It would have been great if Disney, kept on board, but they had other interests in ESPN, Capital City, blah, 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 buying, back in the day. So, but yeah, and I hope it happens because I would love to post that out, that the torch has been passed. And actually, this is another podcast for another day. I'm going to hit the music so we're not dragging this, but actually, ice hockey I have to do some more research on it. This could be a good Pucks article. Is actually truly America's game. It really is. I'll tell you why off air.
Cool.
I
think it started in England, from what I remember.
What's that?
I think it started in England, which is interesting.
I'll talk to you off air because I have to verify a couple things before I say it on air. But I'll tell you where it started from off air. And then maybe we'll have a podcast maybe in the off season about. But anyway.
I wrote the story on the history of hockey. It's on fansided.com, so it's out there.
All right. Well, thank you to everybody tuning in, dropping the podcast in about 10, 20 minutes. Morning Woo tomorrow. Enjoy the night, everybody. Till next time, let's go Devils.